We're going to get analysis on all of this now with Mark Meirowitz in New York. He's a lawyer and a professor of humanities at State University of New York Maritime College. Prof, thanks so much for speaking to us on this news hour. Let's start with Biden and the COVID diagnosis. How is this now going to impact the growing calls from within his own party, especially now from more senior Democrats, for him to step aside as the presidential nominee?
Well, I mean, it's important, but the fact is this morning there was a news bulletin that Biden said to a senior advisor says that Biden is now receptive to stepping down and not running for president. I mean, he has said, as you've indicated, about his medical condition. Well, I think he's out if Pelosi tells him. In other words, you've got Schiff, as you've said, and Schumer and others. But if Pelosi comes to him and tells him it's over, it's over. And it looks like this is near the end. You know, the high number of Democrats who want him to step out. And the reason is mostly that they decided that, hey, he can't beat Trump. So it really isn't about the country, and it really is about anything other than they feel he cannot win. So I think it's clearly the trajectory to his pulling out of the race. And in fact, a number of Democrats have postponed the vote on his nomination in order to have time to sort this out. So it looks like we're right at the precipice of his pulling out.
If he steps out, which Democrat steps in?
Well, I mean, it looks like Kamala Harris is the number one person to step in. I mean, Gavin Newsom has a lot of negatives in terms of California. Look, in California, there is high unemployment. People are leaving California. Newsom's record is not as stellar as it needs to be to run for the presidency. And of course, Kamala Harris, even with all of her negatives, is polling fairly strongly against Trump. And I would say she's the last great hope of the Democratic Party. I mean, who else is out there? There really isn't anyone else. We hear about Michelle Obama as a possibility. But, you know, that's certainly, you never know. They might pull that, as they say in the magic field, the rabbit out of the hat. But I think it looks like Kamala Harris, as a woman and African-American, she might be optimal from the point of view of Democrats to step in, and she's been vice president.
Yeah, the optics probably look good for that. Right now, it's a very different picture in the Republican camp. Is there a sense, given all that you've just said, among Republicans, that Trump is now even closer to winning this election in November?
He won the election. On Saturday, following the unfortunate, horrible assassination attempt, we really didn't speak about the Secret Service, and that is coming now with the Republicans having a task force on that. I think it's over. The game is over. Trump is going to win the election. Many inside the Democratic Party are now worried that they're going to lose the House and the Senate as well. But the presidency is gone. I think that President Trump will be reelected, no question. And again, it's all about how things develop. This horrible attempt occurred. The convention has been quite extraordinary. It put forth the agenda of the Republican Party, and that's kind of a comparison to where the Democrats are at the present time, especially with Biden lagging in the way he is and failing, and in terms of the debate. So I don't think the Democrats can catch up before November.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if Trump does go on and win this presidency, as you predict that he will, his vice president will be J.D. Vance, a name that most Americans would not have heard of before the last few days. Even those of us internationally would not have heard of him. He's an interesting choice because he's very different from Trump, especially when it comes to their backgrounds. Trump grew up wealthy, privileged. J.D. Vance, very much from a working class family. He speaks about that a lot. We heard that from him during his address to the RNC. What gap among voters are Republicans trying to bridge here with having Vance as Trump's running mate?
Look, he's the right choice. I was thinking about it. Look, he's from Ohio. The Republicans need to win Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. The people you interviewed, I think, gave a good indication about Vance. It's irrelevant that people haven't heard about him. We've heard about him a little bit in general with Hillbilly Elegy and his story about how he was adopted by his I guess, the husband of his third wife, and then his mother. His mother married a number of times, and grandmother brought him up in poverty. I mean, this is a compelling American story that really touches the hearts of all Americans. And it's not relevant that they don't know his name, because they know his name now. It's true he's only been a senator for about a year or plus, but, you know, he really is the future of the Republican Party. And what they're really selecting here is not only a VP, because the VP, the vice president, really, you know, doesn't do all that much during the presidency, but it's the presidential election in 2028 that they're looking for. And that's what they're looking forward to. So I think that this is a very good choice. Remember, many Americans, as you said, rural and working class, many Americans identify with J.D. Vance. And many of those are independents. They're not really sure now. With Biden lagging, they really don't know where to go. And I think they might be comfortable with that. There's a Vance here as the next tier in terms of the next election. So I think it's a great choice, and you know, a very compelling life story. And Americans really, you know, resonate with a great life story. And he's got it for sure.
Yeah, they really do. Many saying that he epitomizes the American dream. Professor Mark Meirowitz in New York, great to get your analysis. As always, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.